This is the Solid Signal podcast for the week of November 29th, 2021. One of the last podcasts of the year coming up on 2022. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving off. I know I did. It was a really good one for me, and I hope that you got to do everything you wanted to do, got to see everyone you wanted to see, and got to shop for everything you wanted to buy. Moving forward, the subject of this week's podcast, 2021 edition of which kind of live TV service should you get? Should you go for satellite or should you go for streaming? Now, you could also just go for straight over-the-air antenna, and I know a lot of people who do that, and I think that the people who do that are very happy because they are ending up saving a ton of money. But I recognize that the pure live TV cord-cutting experience isn't for everybody. And so I want to focus this time around on just satellite versus streaming and which is better for you. Now, I'm not going to say there's a winner and a loser because why should I? It's like trying to pick between your kids. Signal Group, and the parent of SolidSignal.com and Signal Connect, offers satellite TV service from DirecTV and Dish, offers live TV streaming from Sling and from DirecTV Stream. So, why would I pick one versus the other? I want to help you decide which one is better for you. Let's talk about satellite first. And you got to ask yourself, am I into the premium experience? Do I want lots of premium channels? Do I want lots of sports? Do I want the ability to record everything I could possibly want and keep it on site for me so that if there's a power failure or my satellite has an issue or something like that, that I could actually just be watching television anyway? Sounds like satellite TV is for you. Satellite TV is a much more what I'd call conventional experience. There's a reason, folks, that live TV works the way it does, that people get remote controls that are specific to the provider and have provider-specific buttons with specific functions. It's because it works. It's because it makes people comfortable, and not just older people either. Younger folks who are into live television find that the live TV experience is better with just pure satellite than it is in other experiences, other types of doing it. And I know, too, there's a hybrid aspect to this, and I'll talk about the hybrid at the end. But first, I'm talking about satellite TV. It's just the way to get more channels. It's the way to get more content. And also, you're not giving up anything on the streaming side, because if you have the channel on the satellite side, you can authenticate to the streaming app and get all the on-demand content that you want. It really works pretty darn well. Now let's talk about streaming, and I'm talking specifically about DirecTV Stream and Sling. These are live TV services that give you a lot of the same stuff that you will get from satellite. You will get, in the case of DirecTV, you will get real, local channels. And in the case of Sling, you have the opportunity to integrate an antenna, to add local channels and a hard drive, to add a little bit of a DVR function. It's all possible. However, what you get when you're talking about a streaming service is a little bit of flexibility. Satellite TV does require installation, and that may not be something that the person you're renting from really is digging because, it means more holes in the wall, and they may not want you to do that. If you're renting from somebody, you have to get their permission before you put those big holes in the wall, even though I shouldn't say big hole because they're only, about 3/8 of an inch thick. Still, it's a hole. A hole is a hole, friends, and you should get their permission. With streaming live TV, you don't need to have any other equipment besides your own streaming box. You don't need anything coming in except your internet, and you probably have that anyway, let's be honest. And it gives you that opportunity. Plus, you can get both of these services, DirecTV and Sling, on a no-contract basis, meaning that if you're going to up and move and you think you are going to move somewhere where you can have a more permanent live TV scenario, then you don't have to keep it. You're not locked into a contract that you then have to get out of. So it's all about flexibility. Plus, while satellite TV does make it possible to watch your recordings while you're on the road, it is very easy using the provider apps. You also get a little bit more functionality from a streaming service when you're talking about a live TV streaming service, because they have cloud-based DVRs that give you more flexibility. It gives you the ability to store all that stuff on someone else's server and not have to worry about it being on your server, which is, if you're going to be the kind of person who turns the power off when you go, you can't be relying on on stuff that you record at home, because you're not recording it because there's no power. That's where the live TV streaming aspect comes in. It is possible, but not always true, that you pay less with live TV streaming. But for the most part, if you're talking about apples to apples, you don't really pay less. It's just the opportunity to have a really bare bones, stripped down, a la carte kind of experience with live TV streaming on a no contract basis might just make it perfect for you if you're really only thinking a couple of months in advance. Now, I said I'd talk a little bit about hybrid systems, and what I mean by a hybrid system is something like what Comcast is doing with Xfinity, or what Spectrum is doing, where they're eliminating cable boxes, real boxes. They're taking that DVR out of the house. They're taking the cable boxes out of the house, and you access everything using a streaming box, which sometimes they're even willing to provide. Now, this is a good system. In a lot of ways, it's the best of both worlds. In a lot of ways, it's the worst of both worlds. You get the cloud DVR aspect, which is great. You get the ability to kind of take your stuff from place to place without it being a problem, as long as the other person has got the same internet service provider you do. You get the streaming stuff if you're going to be away from the house, and because you have that cloud DVR. But you don't necessarily get that carrier-specific remote. And sometimes, like especially Apple TV users, it's not a great remote experience. And so you're not always getting everything you want there. I think there's still a lot more evolution that needs to happen with these hybrid kind of systems. The only one that really makes sense to me is the DirecTV Stream system, which is actually a dedicated streaming box. You get all the same apps you would get with a Roku or Apple TV or whatever, but you also get a carrier-specific remote and a custom version of the DirecTV Stream app, which works really well. So what's going to be best for you? Well, me sitting here in the studio, I'm not going to be able to answer that for you. But if you want to give us a call at 877-312-4547, we can help answer those questions for you. We can help go through all the costs involved, all the commitments involved, if there are any, and help you decide. And once you are all set, we can even get you signed up and ready right there, right over the phone. Nothing more to do. It's white glove service, that's what they call it, and we at Solid Signal are happy to provide it. That's about it for the podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe. Makes me look good to my bosses, and everybody enjoys that. And come back next week for another fun-filled episode of the Solid Signal Podcast.